For the Monday Night Football, West Ham say hello once again to David Moyes. Some might say Mr. Moyes was one of the greatest. Yeah, I got in there early. Was one of the greatest to ever manage the Hammers. The memories he created, they will live forever. But those amazing times, they feel half the world away. Little by little, West Ham have slid away into abject failure. The calls from Potter will be to stand by me and all of the duplicate faces that he has generated over social media this week. Whatever happens in the coming weeks. One thing is for sure, that there will be plenty of cigarettes needed for some, and there will be a lot of alcohol needed for some to endure the pain of the football that is coming our way.
What a champagne supernova of an entrance, Jake.
I haven't finished yet. You've been
Okay.
honestly.
I'm sorry.
Honestly, you're not coming back. There'll be a lot of alcohol needed to endure the football, but will Potter establish the master plan on West Ham's Wonderwall, or will we all be looking back in anger in years to come? I didn't have any champagne for a supernova because the budgets here don't quite stretch to that. I am now very, very much on a budget. But welcome back to West Ham Official. I hope you are all well. About 30 minutes ago, I walked down Wembley Way, back to where I am now. First of all, I thought, I really hope one day that I'm walking down here with a West Ham shirt on. But then about 30 seconds later, I thought, best chance of that is in a championship playoff final, so maybe not. And then I walked up and I saw all of the Oasis gear, of course, ready for Saturday and Sunday. And I thought, just maybe we can roll with it and get back to where we need to be. I'm done now. That's it. Sam is joining me for our, in case you've missed it, Everton versus West Ham preview. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Jake. How are you?
Not bad. I thought I'd get you into the swing of it. Sam is going to Oasis here on Sunday. Has that well and truly got you into the mood?
Well, I think I don't need to go now. I've heard the names of all the songs. That will do. Yeah, no, I can't wait. It's gonna be a good night. I think it's their last UK date.
It is.
Certainly for the foreseeable.
For sure. For sure. Hi Sam and Liam. There we go. Do you know what I did? As I was walking past the stadium, they've got the little pop-up store there. And all of a sudden I heard this mank voice just in the distance. Jake, is that the kid from West Ham Unofficial? Out walks Liam in his Parker. He's given me a poster, right? I'll get you the poster in a second. He's given me a poster for free, and said, watch your videos, love it, mate. Keep up the good work. And I went, Liam, what a legend. And Noel was in doing the sound check in the stadium. That is actually true. That happened, not the Liam bit. But yeah, all good. I am diverting because I don't really want to talk about the football because it's pretty bleak, Sam, isn't it?
How much worse can it get? I think we've now had a whole week of speculation, typical style of this chairman, unfortunately, that we've got a dead man walking in a manager, but he can't bring himself to sack him because he can't find someone to replace him with yet. We're now going through now that he's going to have to sell the club, someone's going to sell the club, they're going to sell shares, so we're going to have all that ownership stuff going on as well, which I know they say it doesn't unsettle the players, but it must do. I don't think any club that I can remember has been taken over and everything sort of stayed the same in terms of playing personnel, management personnel. So all that's going on behind the scenes as well. And we're not playing great. So yeah, it can't get much worse than this.
It can't. And before we delve into it, I'd like any opportunities to hit the mick out of Mike because he's not here. I don't know where he is. Mike is late. I'm sure he has a legitimate reason. But Sam, we're going to have to do the heavy lifting. Can't get the staff nowadays, can you?
He definitely gets the last pick of the of what's the score this week. Then
he does. Maybe that's his punishment. Yeah. It's very unlike him, so I'm sure he has got a perfectly legitimate excuse for his for his absence and his lack of attendance here on our preview. But yeah, Everton, as I said, David Moyes derbies. We go up for the first time to the Hill Dickinson Stadium. I'm a little bit gutted that it's on a Monday night and I don't get to tick that ground off, but I've not got a good feeling. Monday night, I think it's their first game under the lights at their new place. I'm pretty sure, if not one of the first games at their new place under the lights. And we're not a very good football team if we're going to simplify it down to the bare bones, Sam, are we?
I think the problem is, I think we are. Like, we've got the players, we've got the skills. Like, you look at how are we not scoring goals with the attacking lineup we've got. Like, that's the problem. I hadn't factored in that it was their first game under the lights into my predictions. So that might get a quick rewrite. But I don't know. There's part of me that thinks we have got a bit of a reputation of being party killers when it comes to new grounds. I'm sure we won really early doors when Southampton moved to St Mary's. We famously were the first team to win at the Emirates.
Yes.
I think we won our first game at the City of Manchester Stadium as well. It's the most West Ham thing to do, to be this all week and then somehow win against Everton at the weekend. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit more. Maybe I'm bringing the positivity tonight.
Maybe, and you've said that, and my mind has actually gone back to a game last season. It may purely be because it's on a Monday night, but my mind goes back to Newcastle away last year on a Monday night, still then under Julian Lopetegui, where nobody expected us to win, nobody expected us to get anything, and we were brilliant that night. I think we won 2-0. Did Paqueta score and somebody else scored? I can't remember who scored the second, but Souček maybe, I don't know. But anyway, no one expected us to win that night. And we did, and we've pulled these funny. I mean, Forest a couple of weeks ago, there was 3,000 people in that away end. And if you'd have asked them beforehand, if you'd have asked any West Ham fan, what's the odds on us winning today? There's not many of us that would have given us much of a chance, and we ended up winning 3-0. So every now and then we pick up these anomaly-based wins when we're playing badly. Can Monday be that again? We've got Leeds in a couple of weeks' time on a Friday night. That could also come into this category. Listen, we normally get an away fan on to talk about, what the opposition are going to do and how they're going to set up and what they're going to do. But so that's pretty pointless for this. We know what's going to happen. We have had it ourselves. We know the David Moyes game plan inside out. And that knowledge should be used to our advantage. And they're a very good team, Everton. I'm not denying that, and we know how solid and good a manager David Moyes is. So it's not going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. But there's a blueprint and there's a path for this game. I've been very negative through this season, but there's a path for this game where I think we can pick something up. I'm going to mirror your optimism, Sam, which is very rare.
Yeah, we know exactly what Moyes will do because he has a way of playing and it works for him, and it worked for him with us for a long time. It worked for him at Everton before. It's working for him at Everton at the moment. But they've lost their last two, and I know it was a change side for the Wolves game, but they were poor against Wolves. That was a poor performance, and they weren't great against Liverpool. I know they sort of came back into it, but only really once Liverpool did their whole, we don't want to make it look easy for ourselves. I think all the time that Liverpool wanted to be on top, they were on top. Yeah. So I don't think they're playing great. I don't think they've lost 3 times in a row under Moyes in the new Moyes era. And again, that just feels very West Hammy to go and do something like that, and especially against an old manager. And Potter, I know he's sort of coming out and saying that he's still got the backing of the board, and the board have been saying this, but he must be aware of what's going on in the press, and there isn't smoke without fire. It's very clear that we've met with Nuno.
Yeah.
We don't know what that was about. We don't know what that conversation was. We don't know how it ended, but it's very clear that we've met with Nuno. So he must know that really he's got to get at least 2 points, but really 3 before the international break. And I don't think he wants to be getting points out of the Arsenal game. So he's got to get something out of this game. And all these players coming out saying they're still playing for the manager, and all of that. This is the big chance for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if we keep playing like this, is there other than Bowen, is there anyone that's safe in that starting lineup when a new manager comes in?
Particularly.
You'd argue possibly not. Maybe Fernandez. I think he's been good since he's come on, but since he's come in, but he gives the ball away a bit too much. But yeah, you've got to be playing for your positions, especially if it is looking like it's true and there is going to be a managerial change. Please not Bilic back. But whatever that does happen to be, those players have got to start thinking, I might not have a shirt in 6 weeks' time. I might be gone in January because we know there isn't any money. So it will have to be that players are sold in January to finance a new manager coming in and bringing some new players in. Or even worse, they're going to loan me out. They're going to bring someone else in on loan, whatever. Like at some point, we've got to put in a performance. We did for 20 minutes against Forest. I think we did for 20 minutes against Palace. Probably 20 minutes again against Tottenham.
Yeah.
We just can't concede goals. And it'd be interesting to see what Potter's response to that is. And is he going to go back to 5 at the back? Is he? But against a Moyes side that doesn't want the ball, 5 at the back seems wasted.
Seems bizarre, doesn't it? It seems really counterproductive in that sense. And this is going to be a really tedious game of football. Why on earth it was chosen for Monday Night Football, I will never know. Purely because of the stadium, in my opinion, I can't understand why anyone in Sky Towers has went, I know, big game for Monday night, Everton West Ham. Just know it's going to be. It's going to be defensive. It's going to be handbrake on, probably from both sides. And I feel with the pressure on Graham Potter, he's not stupid. He's not going to go up there gung-ho. He knows what's going to be put in front of him from David Moyes, and he's probably going to match it, to be honest. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was a back 5, and I know we all don't want that. We'd all prefer to see a back 4, but I can see the handbrake well and truly being applied. And I think Potter would take a point. I think he would take a 0-0 draw off of you if you would offer it to him right now. And that to me says he's going to go out there and park the bus. I think he is going to properly park the bus. And we saw Man City park the bus against Arsenal last weekend. That was mildly amusing. And then Pep in his interview afterwards jokingly said once in 10 years, that's not too bad. Well, I can see a similar thing happening here. If we can somehow get a lead, we can somehow keep a clean sheet. I mean, that is 2 very miraculous things that probably won't happen. But you feel that we haven't got enough goals in us to concede. Can you see us scoring 2 goals? I don't know. But then once we concede one,
up front, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, will Fulkrug make his return? Will it be Wilson up front? Will it be Bowen in his false 9 role, or Piqueta up there? I mean, we spoke about this before the last game. There's endless options there. None of them are particularly appetising, are they?
No, and I personally think our best false 9 option is Souček, and obviously he's out of this game.
Yeah.
Because he's got that height, he's got that bit of physicality. If we're going to play with that formation, I'm not necessarily against the false 9, because I don't think Wilson's got 90 minutes in him really. So I'm not against that as a starting lineup, and we bring someone. I'd rather we started false 9 and brought on a 9.
I agree.
But also we haven't got that option, and I'm trying to think. Would I be happier with 0-0 and we keep a clean sheet, or 2-2 and we've scored 2 goals but we've conceded another 2? And I don't think I know the answer.
No, well, that's a really tough question.
Just
actually.
about 0-0, but doesn't that say a lot that I'd take a 0-0 over scoring 2 goals?
Yeah, that's a really hard question, because defensively it's been where a lot of people have directed their concerns, because we are really poor defensively. And if we could keep a clean sheet away from home under the lights up there, I think that would be commendable. Do you know what? I think I'd take 0-0 over 2-2. I think I would.
Would that be all our 2 away games in a row we've kept clean sheets? If we do
clean
that?
sheets, with the Forest game. Yeah, well, I mean, at home we're a complete write-off, but away from home, apart from the Sunderland game, let's just erase that from history. That was not a good day. But yeah, if we can present ourselves with some defensive stability, keep a clean sheet, and then irrespective of if we score or not, we've got at least a point. I think most West Ham fans would take that, and it would have to be a spirited, dig deep performance as well, and that's what those fans want going up there. I've done that trip on a weeknight to Merseyside, and it's not nice, it's not pleasant, and unfortunately, most of the fans making that trip up there probably know the most likely outcome. They're going anyway. They're going because because they feel obliged to. Give them something to shout about. Give them just something. And then it begs the question: how relevant points at the moment? Would you rather we scrape the most dodgiest and scrappiest 0-0 draws, or would you rather we lost 2-1 and had a go and played some really good football? You'd have people that would take the 2-1 with a better performance. Because at this stage, it seems like we're just going down a road that never ends. And it does end. It ends in May in us dropping, to be honest. And we just need something to cling on to, don't we?
Yeah, I still think there are 3 teams that will finish below us. Ultimately, I know that should not be what a team of West Ham size should be aiming for at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Right, we should be looking to be 12th plus and really kicking on back into Europe. But I think every single fan, if I went out now and said, "Look, would you take 12th position this season?" would probably bite my hand off. So I suppose that's a state of where we are. But I think at the moment, although we do need a performance, I think we need a performance at home, and I think we need points away, because we just haven't seen a 90-minute performance from West Ham yet. We haven't even really seen a 45-minute performance. And the thing we know about Moyes is that he doesn't really have a 90-minute performance in him either. It will be that he's probably got an hour out of that with that Everton team. And it might be the first hour, it might be the second hour. But it's almost the job of Potter, knowing that his team has probably only got the maximum of an hour in it as well, to identify where Moyes' hour is coming from, dig deep, play it out, and then try it a bit like we did against Forest, to then have our big moment at the end, which is why it wouldn't surprise me if we start with a false 9 and bring on Fulcrum or Wilson for the last half hour, in the hope that the pace that we have got in Bowen, Somerville, Juff, it's looking. God knows what's happened to Wan-Bissaka, but Carl Walker-Peters, Wan-Bissaka, whoever that ends up being, like, there is some pace there in some of those players now that will out, and we can almost out fitness them. But I think we've only done that against Forest this season. I don't think we've done it against anyone else.
Yeah, that's the thing. With Everton, well, we've got a bit of an advantage. They played on Tuesday night in the EFL Cup. They put out a very much changed starting 11, obviously fearing the mighty Hammers to come on the following Monday. They lost in the League Cup to Wolves, of course, as do all good teams. They lose to Wolves in the EFL Cup, and by all accounts, a pretty bleak performance. That's one thing that we do share with Everton this season: a bleak performance against Wolves in the League Cup. So they've put in good performances along the way. They were narrowly defeated in the Merseyside derby last time out in the Premier League. Listen, they've kept things tight. They haven't conceded many goals. It's unsurprising. We know it. Just a non-negotiable with the Moyes team. And as I said earlier, we know what to expect, and we've just got to try and implement a plan to counteract it and to try and beat it. I love away games, but I'm almost slightly glad I'm not going on Monday, to be totally honest, because it is a long way, and it's just got 1 or 2-0 Everton written all over it, in my opinion, unfortunately. That's what I'm going to go for, but I've got a tinge of optimism in me. I don't like making 2 predictions, but my realism is saying that, and then my optimism is saying, can we scrape something out of it? I mean, where's your head at in terms of the balance with it, Sam? Can you see, or do you see, or do you give us quite a big chance of scraping something, or is that purely an aspiration that's not very confident?
I'm yet to give her that we lose as a prediction on the channel. And I don't want to have my first loss that I predict to be an Everton game. We've got bigger games to come where I think that might be more realistic.
Arsenal next week. You can say that.
Yeah, I'll save it for Arsenal next week. Although I don't think I can bring myself to do that against Arsenal either. But I think we've got a chance, and I think we're 2 very similar clubs. We're very similar size clubs. I know a lot of West Ham fans would like to argue that we're a bigger club than Everton, and I can see it with recent history. But let's look at the proper full history of the clubs. We are very, very similar sort of size clubs. We've got similar size grounds. We've both moved to a bigger ground from a rundown smaller ground in the last few years. Okay, theirs is probably better than ours, but I've not been in it. It's certainly further out the city than they like to pretend it is. But it feels like one of those games where anything could happen. It could be 3-0 Everton, it could be 3-0 West Ham, it could be a 0-0 ball draw. My gut is that there are two teams that aren't going to want to lose, certainly in the first half, and probably two teams that don't want the ball, because I don't think we particularly want it. I think we'd much rather be on the counter-attack. Everton, we know, are a counter-attacking side, and Moyes plays that sort of football. And some of our worst performances under Moyes were games where we had the ball for 70% of the time, so we didn't know what to do with it. So if I was Potter, I'd be telling them to give them the ball at the back and close them down in the midfield and see what happens from there.
Yeah, no,
It
I agree.
really is. It's almost too close to call, but then again, it wouldn't surprise me if it was a rout.
It could go any way. You're right. It could go absolutely any way, and it would be unsurprising, irrespective of what the result is come the end of it. Let's see who's joining us from the chat. Helen, thank you very much for popping in quickly. And this is where the fan base has got to. Now, this is sad. I don't want to win. We need radical changes throughout the whole club, and winning really helps nobody. I did the video about the protests and all that yesterday or the day before, and this is the sad reality of what it's become. And there's a lot of protests going on. I believe this game is being skipped for the protests, and they're beginning in full force with balloons at Arsenal away. It's just sad, and that comment makes me sad, Sam. To be honest, it's just sums up where the football club is, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can't get on board with that comment. I don't know who. I think it was Graham. Like, I'm sorry, I can't. I think there's a big difference between West Ham, who we support, and they're the team that go out there. That's the 11 guys on the pitch, the 15 that will play in the game, 16, whatever. That's the team that we support through thick and thin, through over land and sea, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And us losing doesn't make us a more attractive prospect to someone coming in and buying us. If we go down, we will not be sold, because no one's going to pay the sort of money that the owners are going to want for the club. And they've got their valuation of the club, and there's lots of numbers that are floating around. But that valuation doesn't change if we go down, because they have invested money in the club, whether we sort of are seeing it or not, whether we think it's being spent well or not. It almost certainly hasn't been. But there is that money, and they aren't going to suddenly go, we've gone down, we'll take half the money, which is probably what it would do to our ultimate value.
Yeah.
The best chance we have got of getting new owners is by those players on the pitch and by us as fans showing that there is a product there that can be bought. No one buys a failing product. No one buys from a failing brand. And I think the owners are probably at a point, certainly Sullivan, we must be thinking, am I a bit too old for this? Do I want all this hassle? But I do want my, however much money it is that he values his share at, to be paid. And at the end of the day, that's totally his right. But we have got to be supporting those guys on the pitch. We've got to be going for 3 points. We've got to be trying to get the best out of it, because that is how we stay up. That is how the football club continues to be in existence, and it's how we'll ultimately get sold. Because if we go down, literally no one is even going to be taking a second look at us. We are, especially as we don't own the stadium, no one is going to be looking at us and going, you know what, that's an attractive prospect, is to buy that club in dire straits, probably who have just sold all their players, who don't even own the ground that they play at. It's going to be a very, very unattractive prospect in the Championship.
For sure. And I echo, what the message that was projected at the protest is: you've got to support the team, not the regime, regardless of whether you think Sullivan has done a good job over the last few years, whether you agree with the decisions that he's made. We're not a fan of David Sullivan Football Club. We're a fan of West Ham United Football Club, and it doesn't matter who's in charge, it doesn't matter who's playing, it doesn't matter who's in control, ultimate control of the football club. We support the team, and then we can express our opinion and make our decision about whether we support the ownership or a manager or whatever. But the bottom line, we have to support the team. Otherwise, we're going down a very, very slippery slope of real failure. 6 more comments. I would take a point. I think anybody who doesn't would be pretty bonkers, to be honest. Yeah, I'd take a point 100%. Look, would you replace James Ward-Prowse with Aaron Wan-Bissaka in midfield? Now, I think there's been a bust-up between Wan-Bissaka and Potter. I've got no inside knowledge that corroborates that, but it just seems very bizarre after he had one bad game. Bearing in mind there's been quite a few that have had more than one bad game over the last couple of years, and he just disappeared from the face of the earth, and he's got a different small injury every week. Like he's ill, or he's got, he's pulled something small or something in his chest or whatever. It just all seems a little bit too fishy for me, in my opinion. But I mean, Wan-Bissaka in midfield would be a rogue shout, which would inject pace into midfield, probably inject a bit of energy. Because then all of a sudden we've got pace from Juve, Walker-Peters, Wan-Bissaka, Somerville. There's a bit more pace beginning to creep into the team, but there's no way Potter's going to do that. That's far too out there for Graham, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I don't particularly want JWP to start. I think he needs a break. I think the fans are on his back, and I think when the fans are on your back, you need a night off. But I don't think AWB that. I'd rather put AWB on the right side of a back four and see what he does on the right side of a back four. I don't think we've seen that under. We certainly haven't seen it under Potter. But we've got Fernandez, and we've got Maga, whatever his name is.
Magassa,
yeah, that can be in the midfield. They seem like the midfield two. We've signed these players for big money. That feels like the midfield two that we should be having with Paqueta in front of them, but like as a trio.
Yeah.
And then some sort of target something up front. I think if we are going to be bringing Wan-Bissaka in on top of those players, ultimately he's a winger. He will end up on the right, and it would naturally be that he goes on the right and Bowen floats into the middle.
Yeah.
And I don't think, but whilst Bowen can do that, he hasn't looked as strong doing that this season as he did when he stepped in under Moyes and Moyes' last season, when actually he looked pretty good in that position. He hasn't shown the same. He hasn't shown the same skills this season, and I don't know what the difference is there, but it has looked very different.
100%. And Magassa had a bit of a mare when he came on against Palace, but let's hope that there is a player in there and we can see it very shortly. We spoke briefly about score predictions a little bit earlier. It is that time of the day, and with Mike's absence, Sam, you have the honour of being the first and only person to predict their opinion tonight. A prediction, Sam?
Hi, well, I'm not going to go as rogue as 3-3 as I did against Palace. And I'm still surprised to get me back on after that. But I'm going to go 1-0 West Ham. Firstly, as I said, I can't quite bring myself to do a West Ham loss yet, and I'm not going to do that for an Everton game. But I do think it is going to be one of those really, really tight games. It's going to be a boring game. I agree with you. Why Sky have picked this for Monday night football, I do not know. I'm going to be two hours behind watching it, so it's going to be a late night watch for me, and I think it's going to be really, really terrible. But I think we're going to sneak a goal late on, and I'm going to say that it's going to be someone like Kilman from a corner. It's going to be something rogue, something
which would sum up the level and quality of the game, I think, wouldn't it?
yeah, Kilman or the Greek bloke, or just someone with a fluky header from a corner right near the end, like 88th, 89th minute, just when you think, you know what, 0-0 will take it. But I agree, I would take a point from the game.
I'd liken predicting a loss to like breaking the seal after you've had a couple of pints. Once you've been to the toilet once and you keep going back, I think Everton are going to win, I'm going to be honest. And, newsflash, I'll predict Arsenal to win next week as well, because I think they will. Who'd have thought it? But I think we'll score, and I think we'll put up a better fight. I don't think we'll quite have enough. I think defensively, we'll just be opened up a little bit too much, and I think we'll lose narrowly 2-1. But then again, I'll caveat that by saying I could quite easily see us winning the game 2-1 as well. So I'm gonna caveat it by saying 2-1 either way. I think both teams will score. I'd be surprised if there's a clean sheet either way, and it's just who is better on the night in that sense. But it's a little bit more winnable than I think some are saying. Some have written it off, and I don't blame them for doing that. There's quite a lot of evidence to suggest why you do that, but I've just got a feeling that there could be a chance. Emphasis on the could. A couple of comments. Really nice comment from Everton fan Matthew. Thank you for joining us. Hoping for a good match between our clubs. It's been hard to see your club go through such turbulent times. Hoping you'll avoid the relegation fight. And thank you for making West Ham content. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And yeah, thank you for your words of goodwill. And I hope that we're not in a relegation battle either. But we'd have to switch things around pretty quickly if we're going to avoid any relegation battle. But yeah, let's just hope for a performance. Let's hope for something, Sam. And yeah, as I said, just anything to cling on to, really, isn't it?
Yeah, we just need something that the fans can have as a bit of hope, because I think that's what we're missing out on at the moment. And there's so much other rubbish that we're dealing with. There's still there's people that will never accept the ground. There's people that won't accept the balls. That whatever happens, those things are still going to sort of be there. But if we can have some hope on the pitch, it will just give us something. And I think that's what we need. But as I say, I think we need points away, and then we need a performance when we're next at home. I think that's Brentford, which I think is another Monday night one to look forward to in a few weeks' time. But we need a performance. I'm going well ahead, but we need those performances at home now.
Look forward to a Monday night against Brentford. That is a push. But but thank you very much indeed, everybody, for watching. Drop a like on the video and subscribe to West Ham Unofficial if you are new. Sam, thank you very much indeed for joining me. And let's hope. Well, I mean, I have perfectly positioned. I mean, you can't see it. I could turn it around. I have a mini fridge here, and there's milk there, but it's really disguised in the rest of it. I won't show you the rest of it. Definitely not full of cider. Let's hope that I don't have to keep clutching at that on Monday and then again on Saturday when we play Arsenal. And let's hope that we can muster something. But Sam, thank you very much indeed.
No, thanks, Jake. Nice to be on.
Thank you very much. We'll see you all very, very soon. And let's hope West Ham on Monday night can strike a master plan and go and win. Sam, I'll see you on Sunday for nothing in particular. From us, come on your minds, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.